Are we live? Yep, we are live. Let's put the nunchucks down. Hello, everybody. It's me, Six Plus Kayak Cam. And, yeah. Figured we'd try something a little different. Get the headphones on so I can hear myself. The audio levels all look okay. I did do pre-recordings to make sure this would be okay. And yeah, this is probably the most complicated. Let's tilt the mic so I can look at you guys directly while I talk. This is probably the most complicated stream setup that I've attempted, and it's gonna be weird and go weird at times, probably, I imagine. I don't know, to be honest. Let's get, in the meantime, get up the stream feed so I can see any comments that may or may not arrive. Hope you guys are having a lovely morning or night, depending on where you are in the world. Maybe even afternoon. But yeah, so this is, well, not this story specifically, but a good friend of mine. We played some 10th edition 40k yesterday, and he watches my content occasionally, and he was like, "Yo, bro, when you gonna do a Krieg video?" And so I was just like, you know what? That's a damn good idea. There's a couple of really good Krieg stories, and so I figured, why not do Down Among the Dead Men? Well, Down Amongst the Dead Men. I struggle with the word amongst. So yeah, I just figured might be a cool little idea to give you guys a little inside look at how I make my videos. So, obviously, here's my ghetto ass setup that I always use. I've got here on my TV, I've got, well, right now it's the stream, but I'm about to separate off a tab, which has the, has Down Amongst the Dead Men on it. I now have Audacity on this window here, which anyone who's attempted to make any form of content or even record music or anything like that, Audacity is a fantastic freeware that you can just get. It's got a lot of different things that you would want from it. You've got your compression you've got your EQs, you've got delay and reverb, you've got distortion, which is fantastic. The Space Marine voice effect that I actually use for the Canticle of Absolution, and I used it to a lesser degree on The Only Dust Remains, All Is Dust excerpt, or Lament of the Rubric I titled it. It's achieved by popping delay, reverb, a tiny little bit of distortion, and compressing the audio. And then afterwards you drop an EQ on it just to make sure none of the audio is pitching. My college level education of music composition and production coming in handy for something. It was kind of nice. So with that being said, let's make this tab with the reading smaller. And I always forget how to minimize this sidebar. I don't need it. There we go. That's how we do that. So obviously with the nature of the stream today, I'm not going to be able to religiously respond to comments as I normally would, as a lot of people know from watching my streams. Like usually, for example, on the RimWorld stream or anytime I'm gaming, something like that, I'll see a comment and I'll reply instantly, or as soon as I'm able to see it. But obviously, I'm going to be recording a video live on the stream, so that won't exactly be possible. However, I'll take a glance over. I've got chat up with the story on the TV, so I will be able to see your comments, but obviously I won't be able to do it. Any response, if there is any, I understand that it's 7:30 in the morning, so probably not going to get many people live. But if you do say hi. I will respond. So yeah, now that's sorted. That is like that. That's there. I can see that. Let's go back to the camera. And there we go. Yeah. So I'm eventually in the so I stand while I record. I've got my chair over there, but I get it out of the way because, for example, if I was doing an orc voice, I've got to stand back here and hunch over. Which does remind me I do need to get around to doing Brutal Cunning at some point. But if you want more orky goodness from me, do head over to His Word Only's channel. I do voice an orc in his Rise of Space Marine Dude series. And yeah, it might have got dropped by the time of as of the time of this stream. I don't know. But there's a funny little twist that's about to happen in that, which is I really enjoyed recording it. So for now, let us get started. I'm going to take a sip of my drink, get some caffeine in me. Shout outs to Aldi, not Coca-Cola, Free Palestine. But right, so we have. I should probably take my inhaler first as well. So. Let's also hit record on Audacity. Testing 1, testing 1, 2. Testing 1. Testing 1. Testing 1. just making sure that it's this. Loud equals funny. Shut up. Right, so I'll probably also at some point, something I forgot to mention in any community posts or anything like that, I have now enabled memberships and super chats and stuff like that. So I will probably edit down this stream and just cut out all the outtakes and stuff like that. And that will be a members only video. That will be, yeah, a thing that you'll be able to watch. But for now, let's get into this. Steve Lyons. No. Down Amongst the Dead Men. Written by Steve Lyons. Narrated by Sixparts Kaioken. So now I should be able to scroll that. Yep, cool. So. Need to prep the narrator voice. The city had been lost a long time ago. Its defenders, however, were still fighting to hold the ruins. Even though they always knew, their cause to be hopeless. A young trooper crouched inside a half-demolished, brick-built turret. He held the butt of a lasgun to his shoulder. Through its sights he surveyed the toxic landscape that stretched out before him. A ragged, wheezing wind swirled about the trooper's shoulders, ashes dancing in its eddies. He could feel its sting even though the dark greatcoat. He could feel its sting even though his dark greatcoat and thick... You see, it may seem like from my old content that I was just like just reading through it, but no, I mess up quite a lot. It's very rarely a one take video, although funnily enough, All Is Dust, I did do that excerpt in one take. A ragged, wheezing wind swirled about the trooper's shoulders, ashes dancing in its eddies. He could feel its sting even through his dark greatcoat and thick plates of carapace armor. Still he showed no sign of discomfort, betrayed no weakness. He maintained his rigid, muscle-locked stance, his trigger finger poised, waiting. He had waited for an hour, or longer now, ever since the shattering thunderclaps of the siege engines had finally subsided, ever since a deathly hush had had settled upon this blasted wasteland. Who could know what he was thinking? The young trooper had no name. He had no need of one. Instead, he had a number stamped into a dog tag. A number that identified his combat unit and his place within it. And thus said everything there was to know about him. "This is it! We have confirmation that the enemy is on the move!" The general's voice. Distant. Echoing. Metallic. The young trooper had to strain to catch the words. He was a long way from the nearest Vox speaker. Out here. He was a long way from the nearest Vox speaker out here. "Stand fast! Remember your training! Remember your orders! You must be ready to meet your attackers with lethal force!" The young trooper wore a face mask. It trapped the sound of his own breathing in his ears. He held his breath to focus. I need to get a fucking pop shield, pardon my language. Ugh! Because there's this little... He held his breath to focus on the general's instructions. The young trooper wore a face mask. There, trooper, there's a little pop, and I end up having to sit and edit for like 15 fucking minutes to get out all of just the pops of the P's. Which is doable, but it's still annoying. But alas, I am broke. So, yeah, alright, so the young trooper wore a face mask. It trapped the sound of his own breathing in his ears. He held his breath to focus on the general's instructions. His air was filtered through a chest unit, fed to him through the mask by a rubbery hose. Still it left a bitter taste, a gritty texture on his tongue. He knew the air was likely killing him in spite of his protective equipment. Ah, that happens as well. Just a fart in the middle of the take. Oh, fucking hell. Now that that's out. The air is likely killing me as well, apparently. His air was filtered through a chest unit, fed to him through the mask by a rubbery hose. Still, it left a bitter taste, a gritty texture on his tongue. He knew the air was likely killing him, in spite of his protective equipment. Did he ever think about that? Did he dread the thought of flesh rotting from his bones, his internal organs liquefying? If he did, then he might have consoled himself with another thought. That death by radiation was a slow and lingering death, and therefore one that he would almost certainly not live to experience. They had classified this planet a death world, with good reason. "It has already been calculated that you cannot win this battle. That is not your objective. Your objective is to ensure that victory costs the enemy dearly. The enemy's resources far outweigh your own. For every second you stand against his guns, however, you deplete those resources. You make him weaker. The price of this achievement, in turn, is only that resource most abundantly available to us, most easily replenished. The price is that which the Emperor is all..." Let's not do that and get banned on YouTube. The price is that which the Emperor... The price is that which is already the Emperor's by rights. Praise be to our Father, our Guardian. Today you face defeat, at the small cost of your worthless lives. But die bravely, die hard, and your meager sacrifice will help pave the way for his glorious triumph in the future. Praise be to the Emperor! The staring speech concluded with a tinny fanfare. The young trooper could see them now. Rather, he could see a cloud of disturbed dust billowing again. Rather, he could see the... I cannot read! Where are my glasses? I didn't want to do this because I feel like I look like a cringe lord when I've got my glasses on, but you know, it probably doesn't help that I've got thick frame ones, you know. I was like, yeah. But yeah, it's what it is. The stirring speech concluded with a tinny fanfare. The young trooper could see them now. Rather, he could see a cloud of disturbed dust billowing along the horizon, presaging the enemy's army advance. Presaging the enemy army's advance. The angry growls of machine spirits were carried to him on the ragged wind. Soon, for the first time in his short life, he would have to fight. His first battlefield. Almost certainly his last. The young trooper had been trained. More than that, he had been bred to show no fear. Did that mean he didn't feel it? He had been taught to ask no questions. But did that mean he didn't wonder? Did he ponder the value of a human soul? The city had been lost a long time ago. Millennia, in fact. It had no worth of which the younger trooper was aware. There is only one fucking trooper. Why am I saying younger? That is not how English works. It had no worth of which the young trooper was aware. Neither strategic nor mineral. He would die for it all the same. Didn't get the growl. Neither strategic nor mineral. He would die for it all the same. Because that was what he had been birthed to do. But it was not only his duty. It was not only his duty, but his destiny. And after all, the city was home to him. In a way, though he had never seen the sky above it before today. For uncountable generations his people had fought and died here for the barren soil beneath his feet, each serving the same intangible greater good, each seeking the redemption of this God-Emperor damned world. The young trooper's homeworld, the only world he had ever known. Oh! Ow, got too close to the mic. Ah, that hurt. I hope you guys didn't hear that. Youch. The young trooper's homeworld. The young trooper's homeworld. The only world he had ever known. A death world by the name of Krieg. Elsewhere in the ruins, something had been woken by the percussion sounds of battle. Something that had slept for many nights and many days and ought to have been long dead by rights. Something with barely enough strength left to lift its globular head. But it lifted its head anyway, and strained with the muscles in its 6 half-wasted limbs to push its belly off of the ground. Dust and debris sloughed from the creature's back as, inexorably, it hauled itself into a standing position. It was dead. At least, as good as. Sustained only by an overwhelming biological imperative. A primordial need that wouldn't grant the creature peace until it had been satisfied. The need to ensure the continuance of its genetic material. Right, okay, I need to re-record that whole bit because I was stood too far away from the mic. And it's picked up really quietly. So... The young trooper's homeworld. Yeah. I think streaming this is causing... I've never had this mic and these headphones do this. The young trooper's homeworld. The only world he had ever known. A death world by the name of Krieg. Elsewhere in the ruins, something had been woken by the percussion sounds of battle. Something that had slept for many nights and many days and ought to have been long dead by rights. something with barely enough strength left to lift its globular head. But it lifted its head anyway. And strained with the muscles in its 6 half-wasted limbs to push its belly up off of the ground. Dust and debris sloughed from the creature's back as inexorably it hauled itself into a standing position. It was dead. At least, as good as. Sustained only by an overwhelming biological imperative. A primordial need that wouldn't grant the creature peace until it had been satisfied. The need to ensure the continuance of its genetic material. The need to breed. The attacking soldiers numbered in the low thousands. They were preceded across the battlefield and partially shielded by lightly armoured support vehicles. The young trooper made out 6 or 7 of these. Not many, and from this distance they looked ancient, barely serviceable. The vehicle's turrets, however... Ah! That sucked. I'm really, really hoping that you guys can't hear that. It's not appearing on my Audacity either, because that's a really loud spike that I keep getting. So maybe it's a problem with these headphones. Maybe I've damaged like the wire or something, but that wouldn't make sense. That's not how microphones work. But I'm very confused as to why it's not showing up on the audio. So I guess I'll watch back on the stream and see if it's a stream issue. Because part of the thing with my mic setup is the headphones get wired into the mic and then the mic wires into the PC or laptop. And yeah, so perhaps maybe that's making it bypass it and it's making it a closed loop that only I'm hearing. Fingers crossed, at least. I hope you're not having to deal with that bloody feedback. It's so painful. My ears are also incredibly sensitive to high frequencies, so it makes it doubly worse for me. Right, so let's try this again. They were preceded across the battlefield and partially shielded by lightly armoured support vehicles. The young trooper made out 6 or 7 of these. Not many, and from this distance they looked ancient, barely serviceable. The vehicle's turrets, however, were each manned, and he had no reason at all to doubt that their pencil-mounted heavy stubbers were in working order. It was the soldiers themselves, however, who presented the most fearsome sight. Marching in step with backs straight and rifles shouldered. Marching in step with backs straight and rifles shouldered. Apparently heedless of the peril they were parading towards. Apparently heedless of the peril they were parading towards. As if they knew themselves to be invincible. Their faces were concealed by the gas masks they wore. Could it have been by chance that those that lent them the appearance of hollow-eyed skulls? Could it have been by chance that these lent them the appearance of hollow-eyed skulls? The symbol of death itself. Of course, the soldiers were only men. The young trooper knew this, as well as anyone could. He had known these men. Many of them, all his life. He had no way of telling, though. Which ones he had grown... So, why... What is causing it? It's not proximity. Oh, there, that was proximity. Right, okay, no, so it is showing Audacity. So sorry that I'm putting you through that. It hurts me a lot as well. But I'm trying to find an angle of which I can get close to the mic without triggering it. See, I can do it here if I lower. Right, okay, so here I'm good. But that's also spiking too loud. So here is how to do my gentle quiet lines. Right. Of course, the soldiers were only men. Of course, the soldiers were only men. The young trooper knew this, as well as anyone could. He had known these men, many of them, all his life. He had no way of telling, though, which ones he had grown up with, studied, trained, and been... which ones he had grown up with, studied, trained, and been drilled alongside. Like him, these soldiers had no names, and no faces any longer. Like a force of nature, an irresistible, implacable force, the death corps of Krieg bore down upon the young trooper's lonely position. "Wait for it! Wait for it!" The general's vox-augmented voice cautioned. "Hold your fire until we have the greatest possible effect. A shot fired too soon is a shot wasted." The young trooper had been bred to show no fear, but most men would have fled, or at least frozen in terror by now. "Far better to die with your weapon fully loaded than to empty it in vain. Your weapon can always be recovered and used again." Not sure I like that take. Far better to die with your weapon fully loaded than to empty it in vain. Your weapon can always be recovered and used again. Yeah, that's the one. That one was good. That one was good for sure. The young trooper crouched inside his half-demolished, brick-built turret. He held the butt of his standard M35 lasgun to his shoulder. He betrayed no weakness. He maintained his rigid, muscle-locked stance, his trigger finger poised, waiting. M35? Krieg don't use M35s, do they? I thought Krieg's M19. Yeah. M35's a normal lasgun, isn't it? Yeah. Why is it... no. Yeah, no, because he's a Krieger as well. Huh. Interesting little plot hole there that I'd never noticed. Well, not a plot hole, inconsistency with lore. Because I'm pretty sure it's M19 lasgun, the Krieg one. It's the M98 Krieg one. I know it had a 9 in it. And that's a bad Steve Lyons. A bad kidder! Bad Stephen! Let's get the stream tab back up. Oh. Yeah, I'll go to like the end of this section. And then we'll stop the stream, because that'll be like just your little look in. Or well, I won't stop the stream. I'll change to the Audacity tab and show you a little bit of how I do the edit. Yeah, so we were at M35 lasgun. The young trooper crouched inside his half-demolished, brick-built turret. He held the butt of his standard M35 lasgun to his shoulder. He betrayed no weakness. He maintained his rigid, muscle-locked stance, his trigger finger poised, waiting. The sound drew the creature's attention. It snapped its globular head around sharply and probed the dusty gloom with its keen eyes. A wall had fallen, only recently bringing down a section of the ceiling with it. The rubble was still settling, and there was that sound again, loud in the dusty silence. The scraping of rock against rock. The sound of rubble. Shifting. There it was. The protruding shape of a gloved hand. Twitching. The creature scuttled towards it. Eagerly. It walked on two legs, but hunched over, using its two hands and two claws as well for improvised speed and balance. Using its two hands and two claws as well for improved speed and balance. This was what it had been searching for. Exactly what the creature needed. Life. A human figure laid sprawled. Stop adding letters to words! A human figure lay sprawled amid the wreckage, pinned by a roof beam across his chest. He had been struggling to free himself, but didn't have the strength. He let out a low groan and fell still. He didn't even react to the appearance of the creature looming over him. Had it not been so desperate. The creature turned its keen eyes upon its prey. They were met by their own reflections in a pair of dark-tinted lenses. The fallen human's eyes were hidden, so the creature couldn't tell if it had made contact with its mesmerizing gaze or not. So that's where we're going to leave the stream's recording aspect. So we hit this, space, stop. Okay, so we got some package loss. Where was it? Yeah, let's switch over to OBS quick. No, not OBS, or Audacity. So now if I tilt the... Oh, well, I don't need to tilt that down now, do I? Because we're on Audacity. So... Bing bong. Ariana, come back. I miss you. So, we got quite a lot of package loss, actually. It's probably something to do with the fact I'm recording on OBS. So what I would now do when I'm doing my videos is I will now go through, zoom in. So fortunately, because as I mentioned, I did music, I'm pretty good at identifying sounds by what they look like on the waves. As stupid as that sounds, that I can see sound when it's like this. So, for example, I know this is me prattling about. 1, 2. Testing 1. Yeah. This is too loud to be anything attempting to be audio. Then it's this. Yeah. So if I scroll along, you can recognize patterns. And so it helps you with getting rid of stuff. So by the looks of it, that's where I say Steve Lyons. Need to prep the narrator voice. Alright. So that will mean zooming in. The city had been lost a long time ago. Narrated by Skpalter. Yeah. Narrated by Skpalter. Right. So all of this audio I think is useless. I think I was defenders, asking... however, were still fighting. Yeah, this is asking too much of my laptop. It's yeah, all of this audio is completely buggered. What about here? You see, it may seem like from my old content that I was just like brrr, just reading through it, but no, I mess up. Yeah, let's remove that to that time quick, so I'm not running multiple things of Opera. Can also close that now because I'm not using it. Oh well, I was actually. Let's reopen that. yeah, we're gonna close off Audacity because all of that audio is unsalvageable, pretty much. So unfortunately, I cannot do what I was intending to do, which was I was going to sit and edit the first portion of the video on stream, just to give you guys like a little look-see into how I do things. But that's obviously not possible. I was being too ambitious with my laptop, and yeah. But I mean, hey, still a little stream. Yeah, sorry about that. As I kind of, yeah, looking at it, I should have assumed that that was going to be far, far too much to ask of my laptop. Because it's let's move the paint that is holding the wire in place. It is so old that it has a Windows 7 sticker on it. It is not the best of kits, to be perfectly honest. I'm incredibly surprised that I get away with streaming some of the things that I do, like RimWorld, for example. I know that it frame drops at periods of times, but yeah, it's realistically with how CPU demanding that game is. My laptop should have set on fire like 3 weeks ago. But anyway, I guess that's it for this. Guess you guys got a little look at behind the scenes. To be fair, it's 8 o'clock. I've got stuff to do at 9 anyway, so maybe it was good that this went wrong, because I won't be late for stuff now. But yeah, this will let you know that Down Amongst the Dead Men is a video that is coming, but because it's a full short story, it's probably going to be like, I guess, trying not to pace read. It'll probably be about 30 to 45 minute video, maybe an hour, depending on how long it takes me to read it, and like the tonalities and such that I use. Do let me know down in the comments what you think of using like the stereotypical second/First World War German drill commander voice for the Krieg commander, because that's how I'd always read his voice. Like, that's why I jumped straight into that character when I was thinking. I'd always envisioned that over, what's the word? The Vox casted general's voice sounding like that. But I don't know. If you read Down Amongst the Dead Men before and you thought it sounded like something else, let me know. So yeah, I'm always looking for feedback to improve the content, because it makes it more enjoyable. Words are hard to say. But yeah, so I'm going to take these off for now because I don't need to hear myself because we're not recording. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching. I've been your guy, Six Past Kaikan. That boy. That Namekian. And yeah, sorry it didn't go so well, but I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. That